So it's just another day in the CS2 market where we are creating another new all-time high, this time of $5.5 billion on our way to $6 billion. Now, a lot of this has been exaggerated by sticker prices going insane. We've also been seeing a lot of price manipulation within the market as well, which I will be making another video on here soon, just to kind of give you guys an insight on what has been happening, because there's definitely been a lot of price manipulation. But beyond that, we are seeing some pretty big updates from Valve, and this is why we are starting to see an eruption in the market yet again. And this is also why we need to pay attention to things around this market, more so launches of items in the armory, potentially things getting removed from the armory, or even active drop cases that could also get removed from active drops. I've always said that, there's going to be another update hitting this market where, an active drop case is going to get removed, or we're going to see, a refresh of the armory going into October potentially. And now we're starting to see a pretty big update around this market. Now, if we go and look at the CS2 market right now, currently at about 5.5 billion, nothing significant happened since this post from Price Empire. However, we could see just how significant this push has been to the upside ever since it started going back to roughly the middle of August. This is very good price action. And like I said, yes, a lot of this has been exaggerated by sticker prices going insane. If we're looking at like the last 60 days, I mean, some of these stickers are up 7,000, 8,000, 6,000%. Now, is this sustainable in terms of these stickers? Not exactly. However, this is not an uncommon thing to see in a market this size. There's going to be price manipulation. You just gotta, really look into things that could potentially have that supply and demand shock that could possibly be a very good investment. And we've talked about some of the stickers before as well, like RMRs. I do think that they will have a big jump as well. I mean, even the Evil Geniuses holo in the RMR collection has gone up significantly in the last 60 days, over 4,000+%. And there's definitely been some outliers as well, like even the Furia holo, which is up 2,000+% in the last 60 days as well. But this is, again, like the main thing that I look at here is just kind of avoiding the hype. If I don't get into something and it's jumping like 2,000+%, I'm not going to panic and say, oh, well, I have to get into this now because it's up 2,000%. Like, you never want to FOMO into something where you could potentially have, the rug pulled out beneath you. So, don't get too impulsive when you see something moving like crazy. But one big thing that did happen recently was an update from Valve. And we have here from Counter-Strike, last chance to pick up the gallery case, graphic collection, and character craft stickers from the armory. This and more in today's release notes. Now, it wasn't a crazy update. There wasn't a lot to it. If we actually look at the update, this is pretty much all that was in the patch. So, they fixed an issue, and then outside of that, they did say last chance to pick up, these cases and the collections from the armory. So they are refreshing the armory going into October. I'm very excited about this. This is also going to wake up the market in a bit. I mean, if we think about the armory refresh, I just think that it's good for the market to bring in more eyes into the space, because typically when we see an armory refresh, old players that kind of took a little bit of a break, they were getting a little bit bored with the armory possibly, they come back and they start to, put more money into the game, and all of a sudden we start to see the market rise a little bit more. But also for those that have been waiting for an armory refresh, well, guess what? Now we're getting it. So this is just very good for the market. And over here we do have from Osni, the full-on collections getting removed, which, if we're thinking about this, let's take a quick look at how this announcement caused a complete insane reaction to some of these prices of these items. Like, for an example, the gallery case. The gallery case has been going insane since this announcement. We were at like about 63 cents earlier yesterday, and then with the announcement, boom, big spike to $1+. Now, is this going to have a potential crash? Well, I do think that we will start to see, a little bit of a pullback. I think that that's going to be healthy for price action. And then during that pullback, if you wanted to buy up some of the gallery cases, I do think that that is going to be prime time for buying. So if we do see that pullback, utilize it as an opportunity. Hopefully we do see it. If we don't, then hey, I think that there's still better opportunities out there. But just looking at some of the items within the gallery case as well, and even looking at, Steam. I mean, guys, this is just insane to see. Like 2 p.m. yesterday, 97 cents, about like roughly 4 p.m., 5 p.m. This announcement got dropped from Counter-Strike at about 5:54 p.m. Okay. Again, going into 5 p.m., this thing was still at 97 cents on Steam. After the announcement, this thing ran to almost $2, and over 9,000 of them were sold at $1.76. It's insane to see, but again, this is why we focus on some of these cases. We focus on, things that can potentially have a solid, update come out and say, hey, well, guess what? We're going to remove this from the active drop, especially when we think about, even like some of the newer cases, but also some of the older cases, which is also why I said, if we're looking at like some of the oldest cases in the game that are still an active drop, the Revolution, the Recoil, and then the Fracture case, I still think that the Fracture case is one that's prime for a, update that they're going to take it out of active drop pool, because you got to remember that the Fracture case came out back in 2020. This is now 5 years old. So, I'm definitely watching to see if this one can potentially get removed from active drop. Also, the Revolution case is one that's getting open more than it is dropping. So I do think that the Revolution case is definitely up there as well. It's a little bit of an older case back in 2023, but not as old as the Fracture case. But beyond that, let's take a quick look at some of the skins tied back to the gallery case. Right off the rip, we have the Vaporwave M4S. I know it's not everyone's favorite skin. However, we could see this thing jumping from $217 all the way to almost $400 since that update. And looking at some of these other exchanges, I mean, Skinport has one active offer for $600, which is just wild to see. And if we're also looking at just factory news are going for $1,500. That's right, $1,500. We could see the big spike on the chart here as well. Then also the Glock, right? We have the gold tooth here. I mean, guys, this thing, factory new is going for 350 on Skinport right now. Look at this chart for this thing. Again, the case, like everything around the case is just going insane. Even the AK-47 Outsiders, again, jumping in value. UMP-45 Neo Nor. This one's not spiking up too much. It's pretty, I mean, again, we're not looking at like a covert here. We're looking at a classified skin that's still going up in value, which is something to really kind of, look into. I mean, whenever we look at some of these cases, the main thing to focus on here is the main movers within the actual skins side will be the coverts and some of the classifieds. The UMP is not utilized that much in game. I mean, it's starting to get utilized more with the MP9 nerf, but it's not going to move as significant as, like, for an example, the AK or like the Glock or even the M4, because these are three mainly used weapons in game. But also, it's not just the gallery case, right? If we go back to that update, we also got the graphic collection getting removed. And if we're thinking about the graphic collection, we are looking at the CMYK op going insane as well, from $740 to $1,000+. And this currently on Skinport is at about roughly $2,000. And some of these other exchanges, I mean, we're talking about $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,600, $1,800, almost $2,000 on Skinport. It's crazy. Again, the hype is real. And one that I'm actually looking at possibly being a good investment is the Starcade. I'm going to wait to see if the hype dies down a little bit more here. But the reason why I think that this Desert Eagle is going to be a solid investment potentially is that we haven't really spiked too much since the update. I mean, even going into the update, we were trading at about roughly $170 or so. And we're not even at all-time highs on this one. Like, if we go back to the op CMYK, all right, just looking at this on the all-time chart, I mean, this thing is going parabolic. With the Desert Eagle, it really isn't moving that much. And again, this is a very solid looking skin in game. I personally love this Desert Eagle. And it's very clean. So I do think that this is one that will most likely start to move significantly here soon to catch up to the hype of like all of the other skins in this collection going insane as well. And then, of course, yes, the Og Lil Pig, which is one that's kind of surprising, because The AUG isn't utilized that much. I mean, I have been seeing it utilized a little bit more in pro play. But this thing is starting to spike as well from roughly like $80 to $120 now. And even on some of these other exchanges, and we're talking about almost $300 on Skinport. I mean, it's not the best platform to be buying, but again, it's just showing us that the demand and the hype around these weapons and these cases, it's real. It is real. And also, if we're thinking about stickers, the character craft stickers, well, guess what? They're also going insane. Just looking at some of these, obviously, yes, the extraordinary stickers are going to be a little bit more pricier than the exotics. However, if we're looking at almost every single one of these, let's just go off of the red shades, right? So the red shades foil, this has been starting to spike, and it has started to really kind of move since roughly the middle of August. Right now, it's still kind of calm. Nothing too crazy there. But then, if we're looking at the extraordinary stickers, like the googly eye one, right? This thing has jumped from roughly $12, $13 to over $20+ for a sticker. Also, we have over here, now this one is the side eyes, okay? Guys, $5 to almost $10+. This is insane. And on some of these exchanges, we're talking about $10+, $13, $15. Every sticker in this collection is going insane. And this is what I mean by just kind of avoiding the hype. You want to be a part of the hype before it even hits. A lot of the biggest like updates that we have seen around CS over the years, a lot of people will write off, right? Like, for an example, leading into this refresh of the armory, a lot of people said, oh, Valve's not going to remove anything from the armory. They're not going to refresh the armory. Why wouldn't they? I mean, think about it, right? The armory is a huge area for them to make money. It's just like, you know, any of these skins, any of the cases. It's their biggest moneymaker. People will buy the armory pass. They will buy them and farm the armory. So if they refresh it and they have flashier skins in there, maybe even new cases, whatever the case may be, guess what? People are going to be buying up those armory passes to farm the armory cases, or, you know, whatever's in the armory at that time. And it's going to make them a ton of money. So an armory refresh was almost guaranteed to happen at some point, but a lot of people wrote it off and they avoid it buying anything a part of the armory, which is just ridiculous to me. But this is going to really ignite the market even more. I still think that we hit about $6 billion before we have any significant pullback. Remember that a pullback will happen. You know, it's not just going to go up forever. We're up about almost 5% in the last 7 days. The last 30 days up almost 20%. 90 days up about 13% as well. And like I said, most of the market is just going insane because of stickers. But there's also a lot of weapon, skins in there as well that have been very solid, that have been going up in value as well. Like, for an example, the M4S leaded glass min wear is up about 930% in the last, 60 days. So if we're looking at this, it's a mixture of almost everything. There's definitely been a lot of, price manipulation in the market. However, there's also a lot of things that are just going up in value because people are buying, people are investing, and I mean, the market is just crazy right now. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to go follow me over on X. I do have an X account now. It's Crusader CS. There's going to be a link down in the description below as well as in the comments below. And with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.